Hello, everyone. This is Jean here. Welcome to Serene View. Now, I'm a guest co host today, and I would like to ask you the year 2020, was it a year of accelerating changes? I'm sure you agree with me that the year 2020, many of us were experiencing these changes on a personal note as well as at work. Without further ado, let me welcome Serene, the founder of Serene View, to this chat. Serene,
Hi, Jean. Hello. Well,
hi.
speaking of accelerating change, just think about last Thursday, I experienced accelerating change. My son's school just called and said, hey, your son has a fever, come and pick him up. I was in the middle of a client meeting. I had to drop everything, pick him up, bring him to the clinic. And he didn't have a fever at the clinic, but they still gave him 5 days stay home notice. Now, 5 days means Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And that meant me and my husband had to cancel everything for 5 days. We couldn't leave the house. We couldn't do anything. We couldn't go to work. We couldn't meet clients for 5 days. So the speed at which it changes and the speed at which changes knock on each other was, yes, very accelerated. Have you experienced this in your last year as business leader?
Serene, this is becoming a common thing because when you talk about someone being sick, someone having the flu, the fever, that is the red light, going off. So these are things that is already a common part and parcel of our life. But in organizations, we are experiencing changes, and I'm sure you have seen many organizations facing the same thing too. Could you share with us some of the things that you have seen?
Yes. So we're having a real issue. Some issue with the sound. Okay. So we're having a real issue now in organizations in Singapore with two main issues. One is anxiety, the other one is depression. So rates of anxiety and depression at the workplace has been increasing. I do, as you know, workplace health for many organizations, and this has been a big issue for them because it's been one full year of way too much change, and that is taking a real toll on people's mental health.
So, what are the recommendations you have? Because I'm sure you work with wellness in organizations that you can share with us some tips.
Yes. So the first thing is, if this is what you look like at work, then the first thing you need to do is know what is your end game. Like, know what is the point of doing all of these. At the end of the day, what are you really trying to do? Is it keep the business afloat? Is it contact your clients? Just know that and keep that in mind. That's the first thing.
Okay, very good. So, know your objective, the business objective. Be
Yes.
very clear with your goal. Now, what about the second one?
The second one is to really keep in touch with reality. So many of you are probably, like this business leader, everybody is shaking their heads, but she's carrying on. So if you are as out of touch with reality, then it doesn't work when reality changes in every moment. So make sure that you keep in touch, make sure that you know what exactly is happening so that you are able to be flexible and to adapt to the changing circumstances.
So, the second one is knowing, okay, first one is knowing what to do, second is keeping in touch with reality.
Yes.
So, keeping in touch with reality, you need to be flexible. Would you agree to?
Yes, of course.
So, how do we keep flexible? Because sometimes we know the end game is this objective, but we know that we might have to change it a little bit. So, how do we overcome that change?
Well, the biggest thing I would say is trust yourself and trust your team. Now, as business leaders, we often second guess ourselves. We often wonder, like we will do something and then the world will change and you go, okay, is that what I should be doing? Is this whatever, correct? Is this something I should be doing when I don't have the complete information? So don't trust yourself. If you know what's the objective, you know you're trying to achieve it, trust your first instinct and go with it. That's the first.
That's
The
very
second
good.
one,
That's
yes,
a good advice.
yes. And the second one is really trust your team, right? Because you are not working alone, you're working with a team. If you are going to say everything that you want to do from your home, please, double check with me and get my stamp and approval. Nothing's going to happen. They need to be able to react and change. So trust them to do what needs to be done. So those are the
So
three basic things.
giving them a bit of the empowerment, empowering some of the staff with certain decisions that they
Yes.
need to make at that point of time.
Yes.
That's excellent. So how do we, we're talking about staff, and some of them are working virtually because of this two team system that is still
Yes.
in place in Singapore.
Yes.
And how do we identify even acute stress that some of our team members may be feeling it?
Well, the first thing I always tell my leaders is if your team member is chronically working overtime, if they don't seem to be able to finish the work, and if they seem to be dragging deadlines and they don't seem to be coming up with the work on time, that is probably your first sign. Now, it could be an issue of real overload. They've just had too much on their plate, or it could be something else is happening in their life, right? A family member tested positive, and now they have to care for them. So the first thing you need to do as a leader is find out what's the situation, because it is not normal for somebody to be chronically working overtime. It's not normal that they are not finishing their things on time.
So identify the problem, talk to them. So how do we also maintain sanity within the team?
Maintain sanity.
Yes.
Yes. Well, the first thing is, I know it's so counterintuitive, but you need to schedule social time. That's what you need to schedule. Literally, it's water cooler time or lunch time that you used to have with people in the office. But now we have back to back, nothing but work Zoom meetings. So we need to schedule a Zoom meeting just for socializing. We need to
Yes.
have one-to-one chat with individual team members that would replicate, us having lunch with them previously. Send a lunch pack to their house and go like, hey, let's join me for lunch and let's chat. And that's the only way, because only with that social bonding will there be real trust. And without that, honestly, people fall apart because they lose their social network.
That's excellent 3 pointers.
Yes.
Know your objective, know the end game, be in touch of reality. Most important is to be flexible, right? Be
Yes.
very flexible, go with the flow. And
Yes.
third, trust yourself. Yourself is very important, your instinct, and your team, empowering them with the necessary empowerment to make certain decisions.
Yes.
Now that you have shared with us some of this coping um, techniques and everything, is there some form of a checklist that a
Oh,
business
yes.
leader can follow through?
So just drop a comment yes into the comment box below, and I will PM you a checklist. Literally, it's just a checklist of what are the steps that you need for each of these 3 pointers. And you can check yourself off yes or no and see whether there's something that you could do better in terms of coping or dealing with accelerated change.
I'm sure that many people would love to chat on a personal note with yourself and says, Serene, I have this problem, and they would not be comfortable to say it on the comment box. Could they PM you too?
Yeah, sure. Please PM me if you have these issues within your organization or even for yourself as a leader.
Oh, great. Serene, now I'm sure you'll have in line another topic for Serene View.
Yes.
What is the next topic that you have?
Well, the next topic that we're looking at is burnout, because that's one of the biggest rising issues now with organizations. So we'll look at how can we identify team members who are on the risk of burnout. We'll look at what can we do with team members who are already burnt out. And lastly, how do I know if I'm burning out?
Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you, Serene. We are looking
Thank you so
forward.
much. Yes.
Now, this is Jean Leong signing off as guest co host for the Serene View, as well as Serene.
Yes. Thank you so much, Jean. I really appreciate you coming by today. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.